Looks like Sarah and Nick had absolutely nothing better to do with their time than to sit around and talk about SEO. So naturally, they thought, hey, why not drag everyone else into it too? And thus, this glorious creation was born, a podcast. Now, does it have a name? Of course not. You can call it the Sara and Nik Podcast, or perhaps the No Name Podcast. Either way, it's pure genius or pure chaos. Probably both. But don't be fooled. These two aren't just sitting around roasting title tags and drinking tea, or spilling it. They're actually very busy people who just happen to really, really love SEO. And since the SEO world is basically always on fire, they decided it's the perfect time to start talking about it. So grab your popcorn and your keyword cannons, folks, because Sara and Nick's No Name podcast is about to begin.
And we're live. Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast that has no name. It's me and Nick. And today we have Rhea Drysdale. Am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, you got it.
I'm super excited to be here today with Rhea. And Rhea, please, can you take a couple of minutes to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Nick, for having me. Really excited when you reached out. I know you'd reached out, I think, a while ago, but I'm not the best at LinkedIn. So I was really happy when I saw it and I'm like, oh, I should get back to this and we should do this. So I'm happy that we found the time. And yeah, so I own Outspoken Media. It's an agency that I started back in 2009 at the time with two partners. I've since, a couple years in, ended up becoming the sole owner, and I've continued with it. So I think we're going on 18 years. It's been a minute, right? It doesn't feel like that. For me, it still feels like just a couple of years ago, but I now have children. They're 10 and 12. And, we've got lots of clients that have come through, hundreds and hundreds of clients and dozens of team members. And it's been a wild ride. And I started in SEO back in 2004 and was one of those things that I didn't anticipate falling into. I don't think anyone at that time period did. It was something that you kind of found your way to through various means. You're maybe a, website builder or a designer, just good at finding things. I don't know. It's interesting how we all just got here. And I remember SEO was actually in my marketing book in college, and there was one paragraph that talked about SEO, and it says that it is still it's a new area of discovery in this thing called digital marketing, and it's too under researched and known to really consider it like a good return on investment. So they don't advise that you invest in SEO, and that was, I think, in 2001. So it's been, when I eventually got a job, I thought I was getting hired as a graphic designer. I brought a portfolio in, put it on the table, and they looked at it and kind of pushed it to the side. And they said, do you know how a search crawler works? And I had taken one class on information studies, and I did know how Google worked. And I was really interested, and I had some light HTML and CSS experience. And so those skills combined had them basically take this graphic design position and said, okay, you're going to be an SEO. And they hired two of us and tested us. And I ended up, I feel badly, I hope he's doing well, beating out the other guy, and I got the job. And the rest is kind of history. Did everything from content to technical SEO. I've been in-house with a Ruby on Rails startup company that built their own products. I've been with a big Fortune 1000 doing management across hundreds of sites and dozens of brands. And I just wanted to try all the things in SEO that existed at the time, right? What's going to feel good? I also worked for an e-commerce company in-house. And I think I just fell in love with agency life. And the reason is because I really like putting fires out. I like just kind of running from thing to thing. And I know, we can get into biology and say there's probably like reasons for that, right? Like I might be undiagnosed ADHD or something, who knows? But I think, my dad is a fireman. And so I grew up around people literally putting fires out. So the internet, anytime a website's down, I'm like, really? Let's go in and that. I like the weird things. I like the blow ups. I like the catastrophes. And naturally along the way, that also lent itself to me really liking reputation management. So I do a lot of reputation work. And now that is something that, to be honest, a lot of people in our industry didn't care about for a long time. They needed a reputation when something maybe needed to be buried or they wanted something put on Wikipedia, but they didn't think about it too much otherwise. And now with eat factors and now with AI, your reputation matters a lot more. And people are suddenly wanting to have a much stronger digital presence around their brand and more authority signals. And so reputation's coming into play and we are finding a resurgence in that. So
Nice.
Yeah,
Um,
amazing. Like, so please, like, I know that we have in the intro, we have a lot of questions today for Rhea, but I remember when because Rhea, you said like Sarah made the intro, and like actually we wanted to host you one time ago, and she had one of the best intros like that they could possibly like win. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be like amazing. I'm really looking forward to this episode. So Sarah, please. You can like ask Rhea, or maybe like you can share what the intro was, so that we can like kickstart today's episode.
Rhea, I like fell in love with you when I read how you took action against someone was trying to trademark SEO as a word. And I felt, oh my God, this is such a strong woman. You also took initiative, a lot of things, and you were pretty young, right? So yeah, tell us about that, like how it all started, how like this is awesome.
yeah, I think, well, again, I have a referral for a doctor. I really do need to get that ADHD diagnosis because part of it is justice sensitivity, right? Which really gets into what's right and wrong. And I care very much about what is right and wrong. And I'm a big fighter. I literally do combat sports, Muay Thai on the side for fun. And it took a long time to understand that energy and where to put it in the right places. But there was a podcast. Oh my goodness, I can't remember the name of the podcast right now. I should know this. It'll hit me later and then I'll have to say it. But hosted by a good friend up in Canada, great SEO. And they were covering this topic that Sarah Bird, who was legal counsel at the time for Moz, had, where they had been looking to trademark SEO Moz, which was their brand for Moz back in the day. And in looking up the trademark, they saw that there was an active trademark registration for SEO, just SEO, not SEO Moz or anything else. And they went, that's weird. What do you mean someone's trademarking SEO? That would be like trying to trademark PR, right? Or IT. What do you mean? And sure enough, somehow the US Patent and Trademark Office had allowed it to go through, which is weird. Why would someone allow that? And it turns out that this person had tried multiple times, I think 3 or 4 times, to put the trademark through. It had been rejected, but every time he would come back with new evidence, including having gone into Wikipedia and edited the page for SEO to say that he basically like created SEO and was the founder of it. And somehow this judge had gone in with the USPTO and said, okay, I'll approve it, I think on the 4th try. And so when Sarah brought it up, she said, here's the problem. It's already gone through. It's going to get registered if people don't oppose it. And we only have until this deadline to oppose it. And I was not a business owner. I think I was maybe 24, 25 at the time. And something in me went, yeah, I'll oppose it. And I don't think that I logically thought through what that was going to require, which would be a legal battle that would proceed to last for the next 3 years of my life and become $18,000 of expenses. So I just said yes, hopped on, and 4 of us opposed it. And it was Artworks, Jonathan Hockman, SEO Moz, and myself, and all 4 jumped in with different claims against the trademark on why it shouldn't go through. In the end, I was the only claim that was still in kind of progress by the end. I think Moz had to actually step back because they had other things that were going on that needed more attention. So even though they brought it forward, they also had to remove themselves. Artworks, I don't know if they were dismissed. I'm trying to remember. And then Jonathan's, I think, might have still been in motion, but it wasn't making much traction. The attorney that I had was phenomenal. She did a great job of documenting everything, and I think he ended up losing it just through his own mistakes along the way, not filing certain things, not having enough evidence, not hitting the deadlines that needed to happen. But he was trying in that process to make so many claims. He was hopping on sites with aliases, trying to leave comments in support of himself on the internet. And, we're tracking his IPs on these websites going, that's you. We know who you are. So it was a really interesting kind of, it felt a little bit like the Scooby gang, like from, Scooby-Doo. And a few of us were like sleuths trying to problem solve. Michael Martinez was amazing in helping with a lot of that on the technical side. And I think a lot of people said, this is silly. Why are you doing it? It's not like, what's he going to do? Even if he registers it, it's not going to be enforceable. How is that going to happen? But it's precedent. And legal precedent is something that I think is important. I think that we needed to educate the USPTO on our industry. We needed to explain Wikipedia is not a reliable source. We needed to kind of just level set. And I do feel a little bit of frustration at SIMPO, which is like our big industry organization, search engine marketing professional organization, I think is what it stands for. We have had a group that really could have and should have taken that battle on and kind of didn't. So in the end, you had a 24-year-old kid, naive, kind of go up against this. So I don't know.
Amazing story. Like I just need to jump in here because I have like in my pad, I recently watched some documentary, right? Very fun time. I love to spend my time towards that. So for me, like this is actually worthy, like, of even being like, documented in that way. Why? Because I watched a documentary about tennis. And then I remember that, like, whole professional organization of the players, they put their own, requested tolerance, like worldwide organization, stuff like that, whatever. So for me, like, again, in that moment, they said for a lot of people that was super silly. They were like, why you even care about that? You're getting paid, whatever, and stuff like that. And then, like, they actually pursue, and it's very interesting. You mentioned that there, in that moment, there are actually organizations that can, like, take that on themselves, but they don't want to do that. So I need to jump in here with correction. What do you think that it would be like consequence if you didn't act there, and like do you think that it would be like, worldwide impulse of that, if that, like, actually went through, and if SEO as a term was actually a term?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So you kind of have to speculate if that had gone through, what would have happened. He was very aggressive in pursuing action and wanting to have this trademark. And the vision that he had is that he was going to create a program for SEOs, and that if you wanted to practice SEO, you would have to go through his program to get certified to then have the ability to use the SEO trademark anywhere else. And that's what he was working towards, is basically this big education model run under him.
Yes.
And I think that, yeah, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I want to, for example, so I technically was like, you mentioned something like that because, like, actually it would be like owning of the term. So I guess we couldn't, like, call ourselves as SEOs right now, if that, like, when.
Yeah, which I think about it and I'm like, that would be if you think of other fields that are heavily like regulated or have certification and standards around certain topics, I don't think that it's a wrong desire. I think that it would be nice to have more standards in place and education, and everyone kind of had a certain base level of knowledge. That would make sense. I think that would stop a lot of predatory behavior or spam or other things. If we think of accountants, doctors, just how many different fields have something in place. And ours was a little bit of the Wild West, where anyone's doing whatever they want, trying to stake a claim. And I didn't disagree with the mission. I just really disagreed with the person. You're not the one to do it. If someone's going to do it, again, it should be SIMPO. It should be an organization or a larger group that already has a lot of members, and we'll see where that goes. So I think he would have just gone after people with claims and lots of cease and desist, takedowns, things of that sort. But he certainly couldn't go after everybody. And I don't know that the courts would have said that it could have been upheld like long term, right? I think that it might have been something that he could have done some damage for a couple of companies, right? But I think that at a certain level, that would have been hard to maintain.
Your story is very inspiring, and the part I like is you took action on your own, right? Like, and I feel this is look, one thing I definitely learned, like, if you believe in something, keep going, right? And yeah, you're such an inspiration, Ray. I'm super, super honored to be talking to you. This is awesome. You were super young. Definitely, it's not like you have a lot of experience in life. It's such a big thing you took on your own. So yeah, I just was waiting for this moment to meet you and tell you how much I genuinely admire you. Yeah.
Thank you. And I've been watching your career for a while. And I just want to say it's been really, really cool. I love Nick. It's nice to meet you as well. And I don't want to exclude the men, but I will say that as a woman in search, it's been just a beautiful thing to watch the amount of women and so many more people that are just kind of exploring this industry and rising in it. And I think in the early days, it was tough because you'd walk into a room and you'd go, okay, well, yep, it's the same group of, 4 to 5 of us here. And there were always a lot of women in search, but we maybe weren't at the top. We didn't have podcasts. We weren't speaking. There were a few that were doing it, but not enough, even though we were, again, always in the background. So it's just been absolutely amazing to see from Women in Search to so many other organizations. And I've just seen your name for years. So I just want to say thank you for being visible and out there and modeling what we need, which is just more equality, more inclusivity across the board. So
Yes, definitely. Yes.
And as a man here, I need to say all opportunities.
thank you for the support.
And basically, I never again because of that. At the end of the day, Sarah and I end up here and writing this together. So I'm very proud of that. So yeah, we have first and foremost, for me, it's mind blowing. And talking to someone who is in the industry for 2 decades, whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, right?
I'm only 25, so I don't know how we got here.
Well, exactly. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm lost, right? One day, you ain't in this, this is nothing. Or just, aside there, you have amazing, but I really think that you mentioned at the intro part. So I really love to ask you, what's your experience as an agency owner? I never think right now, being a consultant, a lot of people that's actually doing SEO, they're starting as consultants. They want to run their own thing. I know from my own experience that the transition from consultancy to agency, it's something else completely. So can you share with us what's your experience on the agency side? What's your experience as consultant? You actually explain why you actually switched to agency because you love to hope of into the project and stuff like that. But yeah, please share some of those jewels of knowledge that you have with us regarding this topic.
Yeah, no, let's see. I think on the agency side, it's been interesting because there's different types of agencies, there's different models, sizes, right? I've never been a big agency owner. So we've always had about a dozen people, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, just depending on where we're at. And I would say that going from a consultant to an agency owner at the beginning is so hard because you have to put all this infrastructure in place, right? Things that you never had to think about as a business owner or as a consultant, maybe. Maybe some consultants do, but suddenly when I was an agency owner, I had to think about officers and directors insurance. And then I had to think about, general liability, and I had to think about workers' comp and how we're going to put a payroll together and information security programs and password policies and, right? And then the space and a lease and a build out. And suddenly I realized, oh, I'm a business owner. I'm not an SEO. And that made me sad. So I think that is Tough, which is the E-Myth Revisited, really good book from back in the day. I think they've done a new edition since then that talks about when you're a baker and you're really good at baking. So someone says, oh, you should start a bakery. And then you start a bakery and now you run a bakery, you don't bake, and you don't have time to do the thing that you love. And should you, as someone that's kind of an artisan or an expert in your field, really go into business ownership? For me, I love it. I love running a company. I love doing all of the administrative governance, HR, personnel things. I like the background. I also really love the client management side and putting programs in place and how do we get you from here to there. I do love the business development, account growth side. I gotta admit that I don't love reporting. I don't love having to get, into something and try to figure out why is this not there. I do at this point feel good about delegating and letting go of those things, but there's always, how do I say, it's how do you scale? How do you bring in good people? How do you build systems? And I think that in the beginning, I focused a lot on people, right? We have to just get the right people in place. And I ignored the importance of having a really strong foundation with the systems that you need so that even if you lose a person, you can bring someone else in, develop them, train them, get them to where they need to go. And it took a very, very long time for me to be good at being an agency owner. I do not think I was good at it for at least a decade, maybe more. I really think it's just in the last maybe 5 years that I've gotten much better at it. And I think that when you're new to life, I'll just say, right, you're raised a certain way and you have certain preconceived notions and models and behavior. And I was raised as a military kid. So I've traveled around and been a lot of places, but I was always in a very highly structured kind of masculine, dominant kind of space, which I think as a woman, people come to the agency thinking I'm going to be a certain way. I'm going to be more like a mom and take care of everybody. But then I've got a little bit of a militant side to me, which I don't love, but it's in there. I just like to be very direct and a little aggressive sometimes. And I think I've had to figure out how do I balance the two sides of myself when someone expects me to be this like soft nurturing type, but I'm also going to be very direct and by the book. And I think that it's a little juxtaposition, and I've gotten better at knowing how to bring the soft side of me to the right moments and the intense side when it's needed. But that took a really long time. And I'm going to say that because on the client side, every once in a while, I've had moments with a client where someone does something and I have fired a couple clients on the spot. And I don't like to do that. I haven't done that in a very, very long time, but that kind of protection of people, that's the great thing about being an agency owner is you can kind of work with who you want to work with. And if we're not the right fit for someone, we are not the right fit for you. But yeah.
Rhea, what I keep hearing over and over, I like how you bring your values into your work, right? It's even an agency, it's in the lawsuit. Some things are worth fighting for. And I really like that because sometimes people have values, they just don't use them in their day-to-day work or like what's the purpose? What does that mean if you are not actively presenting or defending what you believe in every day, not just when everything is going well?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got values. Everybody in the team knows them. I think if it's a test, but I've had someone came in and did a whole people survey of our team. And they said, this is the first team we've really talked to in a long time that I asked every employee if they know your values. Every single one knew exactly what your values were. And they live them. And I was like, that's cool.
And you know what? When you say you're clear, you're direct, clear is kind, actually, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you keep people speculating and trying to guess, do you like this? You don't like this? What do you think? What you don't say? Like, this is actually a bad experience for the employees, right? Like, personally, I worked with agency owners. They were like, instead of asking for a deck, they would say, keep talking about like try to not being direct what they want, right?
Yeah.
And that is just annoying because hey, if you say you want a deck, I'll create a deck. What's the big deal there, right? I prefer this direct message and on communication style. So Yeah, I just love you, Rhea, but
Thanks.
Thanks.
Have you?
Go ahead.
I was just going to quickly note. Have you ever read Kim Scott's Radical Candor?
No.
Such a good book that changed my life. And it was her exactly what you said. Clear as kind. She has a great TED talk out there about that. You can please.
Yeah, I just also want to jump in like from my own experience as agent owner. I need to agree with you like on a lot of points. Like first and foremost, like as I said, I will not share the big secret, but like actually you asked me one of the amazing questions before we start recording regarding like enjoyment in this role compared to consulting. And for me, it's very hard. Like actually because like I'm super high performer and always when I was like at the director roles and stuff like that, I had like that obligation on me that I like push something and I always end up getting like, the company that I was like working with at that level, like, and that was always like almost always like leaders in the niche. So for me, like that transition, I absolutely understand. Like there is so many things like and daily, and I really think like daily I question like my decisions and like stuff like that, and it's very like super high in pressure when you like again as you said like need to think about payroll systems, client relationships, stuff like that. Which at the end of the day, it is good, but for me it is not good as doing actually and applying SEO at the first place. Um, but overall, I also love like, and you share something like I usually think like that I was the only person to actually hear that. But actually, when I was at events, a lot of agency owners said that like we also like at the Guess and Digital, we also like have the policy that if someone is not for us, we're gonna like end the contract immediately. And that's something that really protects like I really think as you said like the values us as an agency and people that like actually building it and clearly like at other end clients and both of you like and because of that I don't know like Sara knows a lot of people and agency owners and because of that I was like super happy when we actually like put together our partnership regarding that as she knows how my agency works, that's like transparency, direct communication, like really the values that actually can put you at the end, as you said, Rhea, from A to B. So a very interesting point in our, I think, professional lives is everything that's happening with that and everything that's happening and changing regarding like search. So I know and I need to to use this opportunity to ask you what you think about that, how you're handling all of that transition. Do you think that AI mode will be maybe default search? So like a lot of people speculating on 19th of May, it's going to happen. So what's what's the systems that you needed to adjust regarding that and how you handle all this transition?
Yeah, so lots of change, right? So much change, and that I would say is introducing a level of fatigue. I think that is where I always go to what am I certain about? What do I know? And I know my team. We have such a good team of people that are so smart and resilient and they adapt to change well. And it's been wonderful seeing how, I can't absorb everything. I can't know everything. The clients can't. But it's freeing sometimes for me to realize that my clients trust our judgment, right? They trust our opinions and our experience, and that's why they came to us. They don't expect me to be an expert on a thing that launched yesterday, right? And we're all trying to figure out that thing that launched yesterday or this thing that's yet to come. So just where are we right now? What is the knowledge that we have? How do we address that best? And I think we are so good at understanding, at least in my company, we're really good again at governance systems, laying the foundation that I've had a lot of clients. This does make me nervous, want to come to us and go, can you build yourselves in AI for us? Can you create an agentic workflow that allows us to pull all of your process, your documents, your proprietary checklists because of how we kind of do what we do into here? And then we're going to have you continue to monitor it to handle all the strategy, to oversee in QA, to do the reporting, and then to train or sometimes help literally hire and develop that team for us. And we see that as, yes, we can do that. That's where the world is going. And if you don't do it with us, you're going to do it with someone else. We'd rather be a part of the process. And I don't want to sit here and try to pretend that the knowledge that I have is so precious that someone else can't get it somewhere else, right? It's just a few more years of experience and maybe a unique perspective. So we are doing a lot of that work right now, which is, building something internal for right now, an international e-commerce company that has gone through a series of layoffs. They've let go a lot of their team, and then at the core, they want this, agent that is going to take all of the content. Everything will go through there, all the legal standards, brand guidelines, everything, all of the guardrails that we've put in place for our team on a manual process side will now go there. And that's a big thing that I would say everyone is doing, from personal injury attorneys to commercial and residential products that we work with, to startups, to large governance companies. So everyone's thinking about it. And then the small guys are interesting, even like the small to mid-sized companies. Those are the ones that I'm losing as clients. Those guys are going, I don't know that I need anybody right now. I think I can just do all this myself, and I'm going to just set this up over here. It's going to run at night. It's going to be my little worker, my AI worker. And I don't love losing someone for that reason, but I've realized that's just not my audience anymore, right? That's an audience that is more empowered. And I keep thinking about it like the film industry, like literally like camera film, where the commercialization of cell phones destroyed, to a large extent, the photography industry, right? Because before, you needed to have a really good camera, or you didn't have a really good camera. You had those little like snap ones that you 30 photos and then send it somewhere, or Polaroid, and the quality of that photo was so terrible. And then when digital cameras came out, the quality of them was not the best. There'd be pixelation, other issues. We've gotten more and more people to take so many more photos, and I don't necessarily need to go to a professional photographer to take how many photos in my life, because I have a decent enough camera. And people have accepted a lower quality of photo and video with the what's the word I'm looking for? With the ability to make that accessible to everyone, right? That increase in accessibility and empowerment. And that's what AI is doing. And I think we have to not pretend that it's something that we have to protect. We can't protect it. People want access to information. People want to be empowered, right? If I can save myself $150, or let's be honest, one of my attorneys is $450 an hour, then I'm going to ask AI for an answer rather than the $450 an hour attorney. I do trust that attorney mostly, kind of, but I don't mind asking AI too. So I think that for us, it's just that shift and not feeling so territorial, and just going, okay, where can we add value? What does that look like? And again, for my agency, it's a lot of reputation work, because that's what we've done for decades, where other people didn't do that. And we're just going to a higher level in terms of brand authority, reputation, and that's been really, really fun, and a lot more journey mapping, and AI has allowed us to do so much more for clients than we ever were able to do previously.
Amazing. So in one moment that like sounds to me, especially as niching down and like actually focusing on the field that you feel the most, or not the best, but in the field that you can like provide the most value for the clients. And that's amazing. Like I also I would say that like for us for me personally, and for us as agency, it's always like to work on that agentic side, and that we can like actually build some tools that we would use at the end of the day, not really just use AI in that way. So actually that makes sense, because like if we talk about accessibility, it actually makes sense to build something that people or experts, let's say like that, from the niche would use, and maybe even giving that accessibility to the people that can like actually like use it and learn from it. So that's also like a very nice way to look at that. I'm really against like all of these programmatic SEO style, like plug and play with Quad, and then like you have 1,000 pages that sort of completely, horrible quality that will get like, wrecked in 1 month from now and stuff like that. And then you have like those guys, in student or in forums probably like pushing that, and then they go on Twitter and then say, oh my gosh, I reach out 1,000 impressions. Like if we are in the search industry, who even like measure or mention impressions in 2026, it's so weird. Because you could see that can see that they don't know what they're talking about. But from other way, I completely agree with you. I really think that like we should focus on things that we know the best. And I know that Sara had an amazing question here.
I just really like how you explained with the photos and thing, and how people accepted that level of quality, but then because it's cheaper, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is what's happening. That I agree. I mean, if you can get an output that just is good enough for your need, right, and it's cheap, obviously you'll go for that. Like, you no longer need to buy stock photos. You can ask ChatGPT to generate a hero image for your blog, and it doesn't cost nothing. If you have a subscription or even for free, you can still get it. And again, with building a tool, for example, you can use AI to build a tool that's just good enough for your current needs without needing to hire a developer and a designer and the whole thing. So I think there is a need for this level of output, right? There is a need for that. But I think what we're seeing is there's a misunderstanding that this level of output is going to replace, the more advanced. So Canva, for example, did not make designers obsolete or whatever. Yeah. So, and I don't think AI is going to do the same to developers or SEOs or whatever. And I'm seeing a lot. I think my concern is a lot of C-suite executives are relying on AI too much in asking them things, and it's a mess. I see this all the time on LinkedIn. AI is doing and analyzing this for me and doing this, and yeah, it's generating some output. It does not mean the output is actually good or correct or complete.
Well,
maybe if you can give it 10, 20, 50 documents and it summarized all those reports for you and you're super excited, but do you realize how much important information, I'm not going to talk about hallucination, how much important information it may have completely skipped? And I'm saying this because I've actually been focused lately on QAing the outputs, right, of AI. And I can see the mess. And this is when I realized this is not reliable. This needs a driver. This is a car that needs a driver, and it's not self-driving enough to be, who would get on a plane that is driven by AI? I don't think that is. I don't think it's right. Yeah.
Well, it's the output. It's the volume of output. So you do get so much back from AI, and it does really help expedite a lot of things. But now, because you were able to expedite and get through that, content audit or competitive analysis so fast, and you were able to generate X amount of ideas for topics, and that person bought into this big content program, and now you have all this content. Oh, wait, no, I need to check that content, and I need to manually validate it. And we need someone from legal, and we need someone to fact check, and we need to tone check. And oh, that's not actually phrased correctly. And wait, where did that source come from? Oh, we can't use that. So what we found, and I know there's been studies that show this too, is that AI has not really saved time. I think it's just interesting to see the volume of work that's being generated that does need to be validated by someone. And what I'm finding is that, especially with like big enterprise content programs, a lot of them are excited to build out these agentic workflows because they think that it's going to allow them to expedite the implementation of content, where before there would be a bottleneck within the organization where all that content flows in, they needed legal review or they needed someone else to kind of put eyes on it. And they couldn't get that done reliably. So now they're thinking, if we bring in this AI process, we'll be able to load all those legal considerations and things in. But I have not seen too many models of that going well yet. It's starting to. A lot of people are putting everything in place, especially Jasper, other tools, Gemini. But I think some teams, are willing to just launch, ship, go. other teams that we tend to work with need way more governance. I'm just going to keep going back to that word.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, right? And also, Stella made amazing point. Stella, thank you so much for that, because like I really think there is like a huge misconception and misunderstanding of the concept of AI, if we can say it like that, and appliance, sorry, regarding marketing. Because I always was like, yeah, it's amazing. Like research and data processing analysis, everything amazing. But like, you have like something that I love to call reactive marketing, where we as a humans should like, apply and adjust way faster, towards like a given situation. We need to apply 10 years of our experience, there's much more than that into the judgment. So I would, for sure, I would list that. And also the problem that's happening, that you said, like good enough. I'm super sorry for every founder or business owner who will listen to this, but like good enough never made industry readers. Good enough is average. So we don't want to do good enough. I don't want to work with company that's good enough. I want to process that scanner and they're like, this, well, you're too expensive. Okay, I want to be too expensive because you will get the best possible, service for the money you invest. I don't want to work with someone. For me, that's like, on the edge of scamming, because like if you're doing good enough, what is good enough, So regarding that stuff, and I also think like I need to jump in regarding tools, because currently I'm also like, into that area. So I really don't think that people understand the cost of building the right tools and agentic systems. I really think that that's gonna like blow away like half of those people that think, okay, we're gonna build something, because like for our own agency, to run proper SEO agent, you need at least 5 APIs from the tools that you need to pay monthly. And like just like when I counted in like how many points I need for agent to run properly and get like at least a decent output, it is like less than our regular retainer. And I was like, okay, but those guys, they don't know what they need to get. So that's the problem. Anyway, this I can like go for like about this for years. And clearly we don't have that much time, unfortunately, today here. So I just wanted to ask you narrow down what you want to handle up. You have like, I guess, a lot of enterprise level clients, small clients going up. That's good for me also. Like the small clients with very small budgets, and going out. For me, it's fine. I didn't think you go with Sara. I'm so sorry. It's fine, but it's fine. It's okay. You're not again our main ICP. We want to work with the EC readers, so that's fine. So my question for you, regarding clients, like, do you see like what's like currently your experience like with clients, for funding clients, in the best way, let's say, like that referrals, or like you run like specific tactics around that? And the second one, regarding reputation management, I'm very, because we hosted Ferry. He's like one of the best digital PR expert in the world. So I'm really like eager to find more about reputation management, because I know a lot of clients before said like, this Reddit chat really like, portray super bad. I don't want this to be first results, on the first page of results and stuff like that. So can you guide us a bit through that process? I know it's 2 questions. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the first one, so with BizDev, I'm awful. I'm terrible at BizDev. So, Sarah, you'd reached out and it took me so long to get back to you. And I've got, oddly, an interview with Danny at Search Engine Land Goodwin next week. And these 2 interviews, I don't think I've had an interview in forever. But I'm trying to put myself out there a little bit more. I used to. And I think that was maybe the problem with Outspoken, is that we did such a good job of marketing ourselves in the beginning. There was one time, I remember it was, I think, the day before Thanksgiving in the United States, and there had been an email where PayPal picked up one of our blog posts and they sent it out to every single PayPal subscriber that they had, which meant millions of people. And I got over 300, I think, leads. Maybe was it 300? I think it was 150. 150 leads in 24 hours came into our company. Do you know how many of those were qualified?
5%, let's say.
Four, only four.
44 leads. Oh my gosh.
But I
Okay.
had 146 leads to respond to, right? Like, so that are rejections, and I have to read every single one of those, and it's Thanksgiving and I wanted to be with my family, and a number of them are international and they want a response. And I thought, wow, was this good? I don't know. Did this help us? Like, is this worth that effort? Because there is a reputation to us if we don't get back to these leads and people are I've had people mad. Why are you not responding to me? I want to work with you. And I'm like, oh no, we're busy. We're small. I haven't put the scale in place. I think that for me, that's always been the lesson that I need to learn. I haven't built out really a nice streamlined biz dev pipeline, and I've never had anyone do that. I would spend $0 on sales and marketing. And that's my lesson that I have to learn this year. That's actually like a big goal that I'm setting for myself. Go figure that out, Rhea. All of our leads come in through word of mouth and referral at this point because they're always the best, right? The best quality comes from the people that know us. Lots of clients that then move on somewhere else. They bring us back. They keep getting dream team back together, which I love. But that doesn't scale in an agency. So we do need to create more. Our website is so old. The content is so outdated. I have just ignored it. But we found other ways. We do a lot of Wikipedia work. So kind of getting to the reputation side. The Wikipedia has a section where they talk about anyone that does paid Wikipedia editing, and they have undisclosed and disclosed. We are a disclosed Wikipedia contributor. So we don't physically do the hands-on edits, but we will work with editors and push content to the queue and help the clients that pay us to propose changes or new article creation. And we do a ton of that work. And now with, Google Knowledge Graph, AI, Wikipedia has become more important than ever because we're looking at structured data, and that informs so many things. So lots of Wikipedia leads are coming in. And when we work with those clients, they often want to know, okay, well, you were able to help our brand digitally in these ways and our reputation. Are there other things that you can do as well? And we do a lot of, I don't want to say reputation cleanup because that's what I did maybe earlier in my career. And it wasn't very rewarding because guess what? If you have a reputation problem, there probably were some things that contributed to it and you might deserve it on a little bit of a level. And I'm talking even about huge corporations that have done some really bad things, or politicians. And it just didn't fulfill me. So now we do a lot more proactive reputation work where someone is not an industry leader, but they want to be, or maybe they are the industry leader, but someone doesn't know them in a certain category or space for a certain thing. So we come in and kind of help map that and build that.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And also, I think like that from the biz dev point, that's like the biggest struggle for all agency owners. So like I'm guilty of that. So because like I really think we are working like to some extent to high ticket service. So like really like sending over email will get you anything. Then you need to actually, from the people that are interesting, they need to be educated enough so that they need to understand what the value or could invest money on ROI regarding that. And it's very hard, still nowadays to explain that. And from reputation side, that's amazing. Yeah, I was thinking more on reputation cleanup. Like I had so many companies that had like actually, very bad reviews. And like in one moment, I never do that. I never took those on myself because I was like, where is the fire? There is the smoke, so, or where is the smoke? There is the fire. So that was like, the point where, okay, like maybe this company is really bad. So I don't want to have anything to do with that. But yeah, you mentioned one very specific group of people, and that's like politicians. So can you like guide us through that, because we heard that you had like some experience with that before, and clearly maybe that's not me. That's for sure something super interesting, because like we always think there is like media manipulation when we talk about politics, specific topics, stuff like that, and I think like 99% of people always think less they are controlling everything we're gonna see and stuff like that. So what's your experience with that from the search standpoint?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So, and I would argue that today it probably is true. I'm living in the United States in 2026. So there's a lot going on with our media right now, and there's probably a lot of censorship and, what's happening with search engines. And it's very tough when you see your president sitting at a table with all the heads of industry, and know that they have them kind of in their pocket in some places. So it leads to a lot of speculation and paranoia. Sometimes that paranoia is not paranoid, it's sometimes very real. But in 2016, there was an article that came out that was claiming that Google had manipulated search results in favor of Hillary Clinton and against Donald Trump. And they were claiming that based on autocomplete results and how certain things they thought were showing. And they were incorrect. That was not what was happening. So I did release a whole Medium post with screenshots explaining, and that kind of went everywhere. It was nice to be a part of that cycle of hopefully correcting something on the internet. I was really proud. Someone on Twitter said something like they apologized and said they were wrong. And I was like, yes, I changed someone's opinion on the internet and educated them. And it felt so good. Since then, I've gotten personally involved in politics and have helped a local mayor, a city council member, and then I got elected to the local board of trustees for the library, which is where I'm sitting at in our library. And it's been fun, but it's also one of those moments where I realize that I don't think Google knows how to solve this problem of manipulation of media and search results. And so if you look up anything involving an election on Google right now for us, they don't give they don't give AI overviews at all. And if you were to look up election information in Gemini, you would not get anything other than the 10 block of search results. There's no answer. And they're doing that because they don't know how to address the problem. So instead they just went, we're not going to put anything at all. And I actually think that's becoming voter suppression, which I want to release an article soon about this, talking about how I do believe that we're in a strange world where if you're not going to tell someone when is the next presidential election because you're so scared to put anything at all about the election, that actually makes it more difficult for people to find answers and information. And so it's difficult because I have a client that all they do is try to register people to vote and help people get access to the polls locally or at the state level. And every query that we're typing in, every piece of content, all of the best practices of SEO with FAQs and structured data and natural language, none of it applies to them because of how Google is filtering these search results. And it makes it very difficult for them or anyone that's running for office to have any content that someone can find on a subject, because it's almost like the early days of 2006 type search results where you have to have exact match queries in every single unique page, a page for the query in every single place, because natural language won't get picked up. Synonyms won't get picked up. It's very, very odd. So I just think we're in an interesting world where I thought that since 2016, when we really had a lot of problematic queries and other things popping into search results, I thought Google would be able to account for that. And from what I can see, it's the opposite. They just don't know how to handle it.
Rhea is back again to values, right?
Yeah.
And transparency and giving people the information they deserve to know. I really appreciate that. Speaking to you is very enlightening, if I may say.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And as I said, Sarah, if you have something else to ask, because I'm looking at this timer, and for me this feels like a 2 minutes call. Unfortunately, for what people, especially nowadays with
attention span.
I also came in late. I'm really sorry. I came in late. Sorry, super sorry.
You're good.
No, we I really think we are really professional on this side. Yes, Sarah.
You guys are great. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
To wrap up, so what are you working on? We like to finish with this casual question where everyone says what they're working on.
Oh no, the question, I'm somehow not prepared for that. Wait, like personally, professionally, like
anything.
it can be like anything between your kid, like both. Like it is, fine touch at the end of the.
Yeah, I'll say, I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like I already covered all the fun stuff we're doing
Mm.
professionally. I'm working on how to get a snappier left hook in Muay Thai so that I can better like close boxing. Yeah.
If we ever get in a fight, we know who to call.
Yeah, what was like this was one of the most interesting, right? For sure. My sister is almost black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
So yeah, and so yeah, because of
Everyone
that,
in my family. I don't do a jujitsu, but my kids do, which is terrifying because they can choke me out.
it's like most of those for me, like fighting experience that you
Yeah.
can get. But yeah, so that's super cool. That's super cool. Once again, Rhea, like first and foremost, I really like. I want to thank you too. I know that Sarah like said that like numerous and listening to you. For me personally, this was like eye opening. Like again, when I saw that intro, I was like, Sarah, like this is blowing my brain away. We're gonna have like access to someone who does so much for our industry, and yeah, all the respect
There's so
and
many.
all the thing that you did. Especially, I never think that I never met and I know a lot of people or it's not much people from the industry really, but I never met a person that can like say say done that much from every possible standpoint, and then like super interesting about consultant agency. Like I really think like this was like one of the must watch episode for anyone, and if I was like at other side, I would for sure spend full hour to listen to you. It was like super helpful for me. You have like amazing questions, and like even before, as I said, like this recording, when you started, you asked me a question that I really think it is the best question that I ever, got, or at least like in the last couple of years.
I feel like
So
we could nerd out on that a lot more sometime.
yeah, for sure, because I really think, yeah, that like for me, that's something that you really understand. Like when someone understand and know what they are talking about and stuff like that. So, yeah, once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. And as you said, like, I hope that you can repeat this chat. Uh, and maybe in a few months from now, when we like, realize what is like the new state of search, maybe you can like, jump on another virtual coffee. Kind of,
Appreciate it.
your outro too, if you want.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching us so far, and see us. How do you say that? See us next time. See you all. Like, there's gonna be time.
There you go.
For sure.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.